And we're coming to you live from the Build for Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Gregg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are, the free Odyssey app. Good Friday morning. It's a feel-good football Friday. What a miserable game last night. The Denver Broncos continue to win. It's the league's first 8-win team. But, man, if we were doing like lame sports talk, we'd do contender or pretender. Denver Broncos. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jets. They barely squeaked by in those games and obviously barely squeaked by last night. So that's an interesting team to pay attention to. And the Giants and Jets, what are the goals the rest of the season? Keeping Jaxson Dart healthy is really the Giants' only goal. And for the Jets, it's just feel like you got something building towards next year. Maybe win another game. Play tough. Don't look like you're quitting. I mean, that's really what we're looking for the rest of the season with these two teams, which is miserable. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have a feel-good football Friday. What's up, Boomer?
Try to feel good as we can, for sure. After watching that snooze fest of a football game last night, I played in a couple games like that, so I don't want to get too critical. But I will say this. The thing that popped into my mind watching some of this game, especially in the second half, is that it is already evident to me that Jaxson Dart's better than Bo Nix. He is. There's no two ways about it.
I mean, I can't argue that.
There's no two ways about it. Bo Nix is a fine player. I don't know if he'll ever reach where I think a lot of people thought he could go, and maybe he'll prove me wrong in what I'm saying right here. I don't think Jaxson Dart will. I think Jaxson Dart has got a ton more of poise and just throws the ball better and just has a better feel for the game. And I know there are games where we as quarterbacks end up grinding through games, and that was one of the games last night for Bo Nix. He was just grinding through it. I mean, he threw balls behind people at their feet. He was leaving the pocket way too early. I mean, he was looking like a guy that, was told before the game, look, as long as we don't turn it over, we can't lose. That kind of thing. And he looked like he played I want to say scared because they're not scared.
Tentative.
I would say, yeah, that's a better word. Tentative is the right word. And also watching them running backs last night, they weren't slamming it up in there. I mean, like they were like, I don't want to go there. I'm just going to go to the sideline. I mean, it was like a Thursday night game that we've used to seeing in the past where the teams basically are worn out. It's towards, it's the middle of the year right now. Denver Broncos have been through a lot. And now all of a sudden this game looked like it did last night. So, hey, they won. That's all they care about. They got 10 days off now where they don't have to play again until next Sunday. You got to be happy about that. So for them, in the simple way of looking things, we won the game. We're the first 8-win team, as you said. And we got to work on our offense because the offense looked terrible.
Yeah, and we saw that up close against the Jets as well and for 3 quarters against the Giants too. And this is why it was just yesterday I was talking about Bo Nix. What if Bo Nix were drafted by the Jets? We might have had him out of town already by now. But he was drafted by the Broncos and Sean Payton, and he's getting the most out of him. It's is it talent all the time or is it situation? Obviously, it's a combination of both. But I don't even know how it would feel if I were a Denver Broncos fan because some of these games that they have played. Think about the Jet game overseas in London and then this game. Think about those 2 games. They were as bad a football game you could possibly watch.
The first 3 quarters against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean.
The first half especially.
Well, right. But the Giants at least were playing well in that game.
Yeah.
Neither the Jets or the Broncos were terrible. And then last night, both these teams were terrible. But they squeaked it out. They got it done. But this is not a team I would have any faith in going through the rest of the AFC and into the postseason unless I see a major change in the offense.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because their defense is good enough. The defense bailed them out again last night. But then again, they're playing against a bad offense anyway in Geno Smith and the Raiders.
Think Pete Carroll's going to be a one-and-done, old, not working out, team stinks? Mark Davis.
I mean, how many coaches can they pay? How many coaches do they still have on their payroll?
I understand, but I think
it's Chip Kelly that goes.
Yeah.
I think Pete Carroll stays and Chip Kelly goes. And the only reason I say that is because I don't know. I'm not really sure he knows what he's doing, and it reflects in Geno Smith's play. You want a roadmap. As a quarterback, you want a roadmap. You want a good game plan. You want somebody solid on the sideline, calling the right plays, reminding you in your ear now that they can talk to you of the things that may happen, what you can go to. Now, I don't even know if they have that. I always wonder about the communication between sideline and quarterback and what's being said. Now, I know that Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, those guys are in the ear of that quarterback. You know what I mean? And I think they help them along. It's a huge advantage for the quarterbacks of today as opposed to, yesteryear when we played. But it's their situation in Denver. I mean, Sean Payton's got to be all over Bo Nix, just like Bill Belichick would be all over Tom Brady. You gotta hold this guy's feet to the fire. I don't know what he was doing last night. I mean, leaving a pocket early, throwing the ball downfield late. I mean, all those things that it should be gone from him.
Yeah, we really didn't see a lot last year. I mean, he was way more mistake-free last year in his rookie season than he was this year, and I don't know what the difference would be. I know it's not, we saw C.J. Stroud have a really good rookie season and not so much after that. I mean, sometimes you just can't figure it out, but there is no way they're beating the best teams in the AFC if they continue to play offense like that. Now, maybe they can get a couple home games, potentially, if they continue to squeak by, and then going to Denver is a very, very difficult place to play, especially when you're getting into the colder months and the altitude, and the place is loud, but I mean, I'd take the Chiefs over them. I'd take the Colts over them. I'd take, obviously, the Bills over them, just on and on. Almost every team in the AFC that's got a winning record. I would even take the Ravens right now over them if I had them. Patriots. So they're just weird. At 8-2, they're weird.
You know what they are? They are a middling team, even though their record says they're not. And we always hear that same, the record is what you are, some crap.
Well, there was
whatever.
an exchange. It's funny. There was that thing, which is Bill Parcells' thing.
Yes.
You are what your record says you are.
Yeah.
So last night, there's this exchange with a reporter and Sean Payton where the guy starts saying this, right?
Yeah.
And Sean Payton just, jumps down his throat. So the guy's like, Bill Parcells says that you are what your record says, and then Sean Payton doesn't even let him finish. And he's like, well, I mean, blah, 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 blah.
What was he arguing like that? Okay, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this.
No, he was mad. He was mad at the fact that he knows what's going on, obviously. So that struck a chord with him, right?
Of course, yes.
So, he knew where the reporter was going, which is all right, you're 8-2, but, you're not playing well. That's where he was going. So, he didn't even let him, continue, and then he's just started defending the record and all this stuff, and then finally, calmed down. I was like, yeah, we got to get better offensively. But I think, he knows exactly what that reporter was thinking, and he knows that reporter is right. That, yeah, you're 8-2, but...
Yeah, exactly. I know, and I'm sure Sean realizes that. But I will say that 2/3 of their team is playing great. The defense played great. The special teams got a big turnover and block punt as they punt the ball into a head of a special teams player, which is, that was part and parcel for the entire game last night. I mean, when was the last time you saw somebody block a punt with their helmet?
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
All right. So it kind of felt like that it was choppy all over the place, and it wasn't great. Not always going to have your best offensive games, but you're right. When they were over in London, when they came back and played the Giants, the end of that third quarter and the fourth quarter against the Giants has probably been their best offensive game or in-game offensive play that we've seen all year from them. But their defense and the ability to get to pressure on the quarterback and the tip balls and get interceptions, it still remains there. So that part of the team is great. They're the opposite of the Bengals.
Yeah, well, the Bengals could put up 40 points and they'll give up 45 every single time. Yeah, that's absolutely. I guess you'd rather have what you have in Denver now and hoping that Sean Payton figures it out with Bo Nix than what you have in Cincinnati, where your defense is a sieve and it just doesn't feel like anybody's going to be able to fix it.
Quarterback's the most important player, but defense wins championships, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And you never know when that defense is going to be needed to win a game. And that's unfortunately what has not gone right for the New York Giants. That's where the defense is supposed to win the game. It's for the Bengals, just win the game, just shut the game down, just end it, and it's just not happening for those teams. So those are situations where the defense fails, but in a tight game whether it be in the 20s or 30s or, down in the teens, you still, somewhere along the line, the defense has got to make a play. They just got to make a play. I don't know, turnover, a sack, something, force a holding penalty, block a punt, whatever. That's defense. So you got to do something on defense, and that's one thing that Denver can fall back on, is that their defense is still one of the top defenses in football. And when they do play like an awful offense like the Raiders, they're going to look good. I mean, so that part of it looked good. I think if I were a defensive player, and in that game last night, because like when the Bears and the Bengals played and the Jets and the Bengals played, defense was optional in those games. And when the Giants played last week in San Francisco, defense optional. We don't want to tackle. We're not going to stick our head in there and make a play. But in this game, if you were a defensive player last night and there were 13 in a row, 3-and-outs, you got to feel good about yourself.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're riding high if you're one of those guys and making the tackles and the sacks and doing everything that you had to do and turnovers. And you mentioned the Giants and their defense and this week in Chicago, and I think the uniform matchup is going to be awesome. Both teams with throwbacks. And my favorite uniform in football is the all-white Giants throwback, which they're going to be wearing in this game. I think the Bears are also wearing, maybe wearing a throwback in this game too.
I don't understand. I go to these throwback jerseys, and it seems like every fan loves it.
They're better.
So why don't they just make them their primary uniform?
Well, that's what I think. That's what I think the Jets certainly should do, 100%. The Eagles should go to that Kelly green. The Giants, to me, I love the old Giant uniform. I mean, I don't know if people like the Giants on the helmet over the NY. I love the Giants. Yeah, on the helmet.
By the way, again, this is just semantics. I know they play in New Jersey. We all know that.
Yeah.
Right. That's why Giants makes more sense on the side of the helmet.
Sure.
Plus, they've had great memories in those helmets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, they had great memories in the other helmets too. They had a couple Super Bowls in both helmets. But anyway,
really, it's the piping, it's the uniform coloring, it's the way that it's done, and people love it. People love nostalgia. Everything comes back.
Yeah,
Look at the Seahawks. The Seahawks.
Those jerseys, too, they're better.
Unbelievable.
The Bucks, creamsicles. Maybe it's just us because that's what, we loved football during that time. We love it now, but, like, that's when you're a kid and you're younger, and it's just different. You look up to these guys as your heroes. And,
I have to say that if you went back and you threw back the Bengal jerseys that I wore, everybody loves that uniform. That's great. Seeing the Bengals up close with their orange pants and their black tops and the orange helmet, they looked awesome, like in person. And then when they go all white with the white helmet, the white jersey, and the white, the white pants, that looks great. So there's not really a lot of big push to go back to their older uniforms, even though they were great.
Yeah,
because the new uniforms really they pop on TV, they look great in person. But like the Giants, the Jets green and white with the green helmet on the road at the Bengals that day.
Yeah,
those uniforms were awesome.
Yeah, no, they do a nice job.
That helmet is unbelievable. What it looks like up close and personal, and you see 53 of them running around out there on the field.
Sure.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah. Well, you hadn't been up close on the sideline to a game in at least about a year, right?
Yeah, I mean we were there for Philly and the Giants, but that it's a couple. It's not since the CBS crew when we would go to the AFC Championship game.
Right. Yeah, that was there is something going to football games is not my favorite thing to do. Like watching them on TV is great, but if you're lucky enough to be up close with an NFL football team like that, you see it and you've never experienced that. It's unbelievable. Like seeing A.J. Brown in person that day, I was like, this guy looks like a freaking middle linebacker.
You should have seen T. Higgins up close. I've seen him without a uniform, in a meeting room and stuff like that. But man, I couldn't believe how long his arms were and just how tall he was. And then of course you see Joe Flacco out there.
Yeah,
and he could still spin it, man. That guy, just watching him throw pat and goes before the game on the sideline.
Yeah,
man, everything's a tight spiral. Everything's coming right down into the player's hands. And he's living his best life because he's playing with that offense and those two wide receivers. And all he has to do is get the ball to them. And next thing you know, they're off and running.
You know what we're doing right now on this Feel Good Football Friday?
We're kind of going down memory lane.
Well, a little bit, yes. But we're glazing, guys.
We're glazing.
Were you just glazing, guys?
You just glazed?
I just glazed A.J. Brown. You were glazing T. Higgins and Joe Flacco. Glazing, Jaxson Dart. We're Glazing guys.
You know, I feel good about glazing guys because we're always ripping guys.
Yeah, you want to glaze
Normally.
somebody right now? Al, you want to glaze a football player right now?
Daniel Jones, he's your favorite, right?
Yeah, I do like Daniel Jones now. Baker Mayfield's back. The Bucs were off on a bye week. I'll glaze Baker Mayfield.
All right. Glazing Baker,
Eddie,
which is great, which is perfect.
Right, I know Eddie's a Dolphins fan. There's really not much glazing
there's
going
no
on down
glazing.
there in Miami, but do you have anybody else that you
want
would
to glaze
glaze?
somebody?
No, not really.
You don't want to glaze anybody? No?
You just want to. He glazes us every day.
He doesn't really. He does the opposite of glaze us.
He glazes over us.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Feel Good Football Friday on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.